This is like the quite bad reception.
Hello, are we live? I think we are. Good afternoon, everyone. We spontaneously decided to go on a live and share with you our 2020 roundup. So, welcome everyone who is tuning in. Oh, I see there.
Hi, Johnny. Hi, William. How are you guys doing? Last day of 2020. How's everyone feeling? So we just decided to spontaneously do a live today, and we have the camera set in our living room. So it's as if, we have friends over, and we're just gonna have a chat about what we have done this year, what we have gone through this year. We're right now in tier 4 in the UK, so in Warrington where we live, it's tier 4, which means
Bit of a bummer.
it's basically lockdown again. The government guideline is to stay at home, so yeah, that's how we're gonna spend our New Year's Eve basically.
So instead of having friends over for New Year's, we're just gonna be by ourselves, and why not just talk to you guys and imagine you're all here in our living room and we just have a chat and share what we have been up to. Maybe you can relate to some of these things, and maybe you can learn.
Yeah, so people who have been following us are, you guys probably know that, yeah, we are, we run our own property business. We are in, business and life together. So, yeah, give us a shout, say hi in the chat, and let us know where you are tuning in from. Are you in the UK, which city you are, and how you are going to spend your New Year's Eve. And we're just gonna kick off with just basically telling you guys, sharing with you what we have done from the beginning of 2020 and all the things that we have gone through, struggles and wins. Do you want to start?
Yeah, so beginning this year, we had that was just bad connection there. So beginning of this year, our plan was to relocate actually, because we used to live up in Scotland, and our strategy back then was just buy a couple of small buy-to-lets. But we found out that we want to scale our business, and we could only really do that when we moved down to England and do bigger projects focused on HMOs. So our last year's plan was we want to move to England, and that's what we've done at the beginning of this year. And so it happened that we moved in February. We found a place to rent, didn't want to buy because we want to stay flexible and all that. So just before lockdown, we had a new place here, and we thought, okay, great, now we can get going and explore our areas, do the viewings, get to know the people, the agents and the houses, and all the dynamics. Where do people want to live, and where's demand? So we got going and getting to know our areas, just for lockdown to shut down everything. And I guess you guys know how it has been. Out of sudden you have to stay at home. So our plans were really, we wanted to buy, I think it was 4 HMOs.
Yeah, the goal was to buy 4 the house share projects that we often share on our YouTube channel. So splitting a family house, converting a family house into 5 or 6 all ensuite bedrooms. So our goal this year was to do like 20 to 24 units in total.
Yeah, so spoiler, we didn't buy 4. In the end we bought 1, so we're gonna get to that deal later, that we can talk about. But we had quite a lot of learnings. So we have actually, we had to change a couple of our team members, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Which was, really interesting. So besides pushing forward so maybe I just structure my thoughts here a little bit. What have we done in terms of projects? Those projects that we have started at the beginning of the year, we just try to push through. We had 3 HMO refurbishments going on at the same time, and we had 2 with one build team, and the third one was with a separate build team. And there was really a learning there. We had that third HMO that new build team was not really up to speed with getting their people on site. And through lockdown, we just thought, why are things not moving? Our old build team working on the 2 HMOs, they are constantly moving forward, and they're trying to bring in people, even if it's just 1 or 2 people on site at the same time. But then that other build team, they blamed it on COVID, but slowly we realized it's not really COVID. They just don't have the right people fit for the job. So we were a bit... Yeah, it took us a little bit to realize that difference between what they say it is versus what the actual reason for the delay is. So we ended up changing that build team after a couple of months of no progress. And we managed to finish those 2 HMOs with our old build team and tenant them. So we moved in a total of 13 tenants over lockdown, whereas the other HMO, we're still refurbishing that one. So that was a bit of a bummer, really, that we have started it, and that delay is carrying on up until now, really.
Hello, Luca. So yeah, basically dealing with that build team was quite, to me, it was quite mentally draining, because every week when we turn up on site, there was not much progress, and we were thinking of how do we cut ties with this build team, and they just keep promising us that things are moving forward, and they have tradespeople lined up next week. So, and then many weeks pass, and we still don't see things moving forward. So then at the end of the contract, by the end of the contract, we decide to cut ties, and there were a lot of threatening from the other party going on, and we decided to go for a settlement agreement and finally part ways with them.
Yeah, so we brought in our old build team, and they're now finishing the job, which is due to complete in February. So what happened with the other 2 HMOs? We managed to finish the refurbishment. You can see the pictures and the videos on YouTube. So those are done, they are fully tenanted, and then we pushed for refinancing those. And that's where it got a little bit tricky, because everyone said, well, refinancing is slow, solicitors are slow, and we noticed that there are some delays, but we came to the end of our bridging term, and we just needed to make sure that we don't overrun. So we managed to pay off both bridges just I think a day or 2 before the bridge ran out, because if you only run over by like 1 day, they would charge you a hefty penalty fee, and we wanted to avoid that, because we are budgeting for the whole 12 months of like having to pay interest on that. But we always hope that we can do it quicker, which, well, in the past couple of years we have always done it a bit quicker, but now with COVID we really needed to take the whole 12 months. But we managed to pay it off, and we also managed to then pay out our investors who have invested into those projects, and that's always the most important for us, that we can stick to our promises. In terms of valuations, we've also heard from a couple of people that they got downvalued. In our experience, we got exactly what we were looking for.
Not really. I mean, in the course of, like, in this year we refinanced 3 properties. So one in Scotland, that one got downvalued by 10k, and then we refinanced one HMO in England, and that one was slightly downvalued by 5k. But it was still within sort of our expected figures. And then the most recent revaluation was like 20 grand above what we have done our numbers on.
Yeah,
So
so on
it's
average, it was the
yeah.
what we expected. Yeah, right. Um, yeah, what else?
Well, yeah, in the course of throughout the whole year, we changed a lot of like build team. We changed a lot of team members. So we
Hi,
changed.
Darren.
Hi, Darren. We changed letting agent. We changed solicitor. We changed build team. We changed accountant at the beginning of the year as well. So yeah, I think it's just bearing in mind that whatever team members that you have built up initially that helped you to sort of grow your business initially, don't be don't have the mindset that you need to stick with them throughout. Sometimes you just grow out of an original team member and you need to sort of move on. So that's the case with our accountant, because we were getting into like sort of holding structure and JV SPVs, and it just feels like our old accountant, she was too busy and she wasn't really answering our inquiries anymore. It's getting hard to get hold of her to answer any of our accounting queries. So we needed someone who has the time and the knowledge, the expertise to actually cater to what we were looking for. So we had to change our accountant, who then I think within the company themselves, they are tax advisors as well. So it ties in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of our solicitor, we noticed that there was a bit of a, well, she wasn't really on the ball with things, I would say, and tried to hide it because we were buying a property. It was sort of a mixed use, so it was the first time we used her because she's a commercial agent. But
Well,
she said
the reason why we used her was because
Yeah.
the solicitor who did our residential conveyancing was brilliant. Like she's affordable.
and she's sitting in the same
Office.
office.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, same office must be good. And well, the one solicitor, the residential solicitor, said, well, my colleague can deal with the commercial inquiries. So we went with her. But we found out it's not necessarily sitting in the same office does not mean they're all good, and we found that out the hard way. So yeah, one of the issues was our charge was not registered. So we bought a property and we exchanged on it, and we had a bridge arranged on the property, but we weren't the legal owner of that property, and we've only found out a couple of weeks or months later, because it still did not show up on land registry until we have raised that concern with our solicitor, saying, what is going on? Why are we still not showing up as the legal owner? And that's where we really found out that she's not fit for the job, and she tried to cover it up with things like, oh, it's COVID and all these things. But
that's when you see the difference, because we had a similar issue with a Scottish solicitor, and it was almost similar issue, but then our Scottish solicitor, he jumped on it straight away. He offered to pay for whatever legal costs or any extra fees or costs that incurred from their mistake. So, and then from this commercial solicitor, she was just coming up with excuses after excuses and blaming it on COVID, blaming it on how slow the land registry is working, blaming it on other people. So when we had like these two solicitors in comparison, you do realize how one is actually tackling the problem head on, and the other is just finding excuses and finding a way for herself to get away.
Yeah, so that was a big learning in how do people deal with mistakes if they're like honest and they know why has this mistake happened, and the other one just tries to cover it up and think you are I don't know, a fool and you don't realize what's going on.
Yeah.
So that was a big learning, and we have changed commercial solicitor once again
Yeah.
to someone who we know can do the job better.
Another thing, so letting agent, we also changed because, well, we found out that he hasn't been really honest with us, and we have gotten some, fraudulent documents. So it didn't feel right, and
Yeah, Darren, I agree. Yeah, they don't generally apologize. If you need a Scottish solicitor who does apologize, then just ask me. I can tell you a good one.
So yeah, so letting agent, we started like finding out things that weren't right. He wasn't properly registered with any redress schemes, which
Anymore.
every
He got kicked out of one.
he so they were yeah. So letting agents in the UK, they have to be registered with any of the government approved scheme, and when we investigate further, we were emailing the ombudsman the redress schemes, and then they were telling us that okay, his membership with us is no longer valid, or it was terminated, or stuff like that. So effectively he was just operating illegally. So all these things that we slowly gathered, and we had evidence, and we had to, sadly we have to move away from him. We have to pull all our rooms from him and go to a new letting agent who has now take over all our all the management of our units, and has made that transition period really smooth and well done for us, basically.
Yeah. So all in all, our team members, we've cleaned up a bit, and you really get to see the good, the bad, the ugly in people when shit hits the fan. And so that was changing builders, letting agent, accountant, and solicitor. That's quite a lot of people that we've changed. But now, well, moving forward, we think they are now better, and we have improved on the people that we've worked with.
I think the big learning here is no matter what other people recommend to you, any team member that people recommend to you, you have to do your own due diligence. So we don't blame it on whoever has recommended that to us. We probably haven't done like full due diligence. We know the basic, just ask them for client reference, go visit their projects, talk to other landlords, stuff like that. So we have done that, but there are certain people who are just a snake. They have been scamming people for many years, and they haven't been exposed, and it's just stuff like that. It just accumulates, and you never know that other landlords, they might be in similar trouble as us. So it's just always on the ball with things. Once you are a landlord, once you start owning properties, you are a business owner. This is like everything comes down to you, and you need to take ownership of everything that happens in your business. It's super important to bear that in mind.
Then what else have we done? We've started with direct to vendor marketing, and we actually had quite some pleasant conversations with vendors. So
even though we haven't had any sale agreed with any of the direct to vendor that came back to us, but we hear from other people their direct to vendor responses, sometimes they get really nasty comments like, just F off, don't ever send letters to my house again. I'm not interested in selling, you shouldn't be doing this, and I'm going to report you to the police and blah blah blah. But so far our experience with direct to vendors responses have been quite pleasant. We've been asked questions like, oh, are you a big company, or are you a private person? And then I am doing up this house right now, would you be interested in buying it in 2 months, stuff like that. So it's been quite pleasant conversations that we have had so far. But we haven't it hasn't yielded to anything yet, but they are obviously keeping our numbers, keeping our letters, and bearing us in mind for the future.
Yeah, so we just stay in touch with them for now, and there will be a time where they consider selling, and then they have our number. Yeah, then what else do we have? Yeah, what deal? That was just a call coming through. Estate agents still working today. Well, so what deals did we do? We got a deal accepted on a mixed use, and that is in an area where we have bought before, and we actually passed that property quiet for a while. We saw it on the market, I think a year ago. You saw it on the market, and
I mean, we keep driving past
yeah,
it.
because it's just around the corner from one of our other developments. And when it hit the market, we thought, well, it's exactly what we are looking for, and it really hits our and it's exactly what we're looking for. It's sort of an end terrace. It's split downstairs. There's a workshop, and upstairs is a flat. And our last project that we are doing is exactly the same. And potentially we can build a dormer on the where is my hand, on the top floor, and the ground floor we can convert into 2 studios. So in the end we would be getting 8 rentable units. So it's a 6-bed HMO and 2 studios. And yeah, we just went with it when we realized, okay, this is a deal that we would do all day long. We have the build team, we know the area, we know the demand, and the price is good. So we just put in our offer, and in the beginning I think we almost lost it, because we thought we need to negotiate the price down just a bit, just because, I don't know, we're investors and we always want to have another discount. But then when we realized that our numbers work at exactly what the property is up for, we just put in the offer and said, well, let's go for it. We don't want to regret not buying it and someone else buys it at that price, and we keep driving past that property all the time. So that property is now in legals. We had to put in planning permission to convert downstairs. That's prior approval.
Yeah.
And then for the dormer, we actually need planning permission. That's what a lot of people don't realize when they say, well, for a dormer you don't need planning. That's true for a house, but it's not true for if you have a mixed use and upstairs is a flat. Permitted development rights for a dormer don't apply on a flat. So you still need planning permission for that. So that's in at the moment. And yeah, we're looking to exchange probably end of January, I think. And we'll get cracking on that one.
Yeah, so just like numbers wise, the purchase is around 66K, and the total build cost we estimate would be 140K. So in the beginning, obviously, we were raising finance from private investors to fund this deal, and we managed to raise the whole amount, so 200 grand is fully funded. So this project is fully funded now. We will be, well, as soon as we get planning approval, so the 2 studios and the dormer, we would be looking to start around February, March, around about there. So yeah, we thought, you know, if we weren't able to raise the full private finance to fully fund it, then we would go for development finance. And you did the numbers, right, on development finance. It turns out to be about 15% interest that we have to pay to a development finance lender. So compared to what we pay a private investor, which is 8%, it is like almost double. So obviously we prefer, you know, working with private investors, giving them 8%, and you know, rather than going for a super expensive development finance. But going forward in the future, we thought, you know, our goal is to do commercial conversion into flats as well. So going down the development finance route would be inevitable. It might kick start our experience dealing with development finance and all the, you know, monthly valuations and drawing down the funds in trenches. That would start the experience, the start the clock ticking. But yeah, I mean, it's good news that we managed to raise the full funds for this project, so we don't need to use development finance. And it's way cheaper to use, you know, private investors funds, and we only pay them 8%. Is win-win for everyone. So private investors, they get, you know, 8% return. Is way better than what you get in the banks today. You know, in the banks you're getting less than 1%, so we're giving them 8%. So they're happy and we're happy because it's way cheaper than development finance, and we get to fund the whole project without, you know, having like this time constraint, time pressure that, oh, we have to finish the project because it's so expensive lending. And also with our build team, then we can complete the project and up to our standards, and that should give 8 tenants a home to live in the area.
Yeah, Darren, absolutely. A mix can help you leverage more finance. 100% agree with you, and that's what we have done all the time with arranging bridging finance to buy it, and then using the investor finance for the refurbishment. I think this deal now is the first deal that we fund 100% with private finance. Yeah, the thing is, when the purchase price is quite low, so on this one 66 grand, but then the refurbishment is 140, getting a bridge on the 66, it's actually also quite expensive because you get incredibly high rates because the loan amount is so small, and the actual dollar or the pound amount is also quite slow because you're buying the house for so cheap. That's why we looked into the development finance, but well, investor turned up and said, well, here are, actually it's two investors. One is an existing investor at 60 and the other one is a new investor at 140, financing the refurbishment.
Yeah, so going into the new year, our goals, we have set our goals. It's a lot. We want to focus a lot of efforts in generating capital next year, to, well, on the one hand, to pay out our investors whose terms are coming up next year, as well as also generating our own capital to do more projects moving forward. So what we I don't know how many of you guys actually know how we work and what service we actually provide. So apart from offering private investors hands-off opportunity to earn, 8% through our projects, we recently also found an opportunity there to where international investors are really interested in UK properties, because the yields here are so much better than what they can get in back home. So Hong Kong, Australia, Singapore, Dubai, all these investors, they're looking into UK to buy UK properties for cash flow and also better yields than back home. So what they are looking for is at least 7% yield cash flowing properties, and we see an opportunity there where we can find fairly easily in our investment areas, and then find these properties for them where we can charge them a sourcing fee. So that's what we are going to do in the new year. And yeah, Darren is just asking what are we focusing on. You wanna?
Yeah, more HMOs, flips, conversions. Actually, all three of them. We are still we believe in the HMO market. There is good demand for HMOs. We just diversify areas. We have now enough HMOs in one area, so that was the point of relocating here, so we can look at other areas as well. Flips, absolutely. We're going to look for flips in higher value areas, and then conversions. Yeah, couple
So
of flats, 5, 6, maybe up to 10 flats.
we're looking into the supported living strategy, or like social housing. So there are housing providers who are looking for flats, block of flats, and that's what we're looking to provide. So finding a commercial or a mixed use unit, and then having the planning approval to convert them into one bedroom flats. That's in high demand for supported living providers, and that's what we are looking to do more of next year. We are already in touch with some providers in our area. We are looking at other areas as well where there are greater demands. We're just building up our network, our connections here, and we have been focusing on that in the last sort of 6 to 8 months, emailing people, chatting with people. There are a lot of housing associations and social housing providers who are looking to house vulnerable people, autism, mental health, people recovering from surgeries from care homes or hospitals, veterans and
learning
all
disabilities.
That. Yeah, so there's a great
huge demand.
Huge demand there, and we would like to get involved in that space.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think
I think that's about it.
that's about half an hour that we have been talking.
Do you guys have any questions for us?
Yeah.
Going into next year.
We document our investment, like we document our projects updates on YouTube as well. So I mean, on YouTube it's more edited and with all the B-roll and stuff like that. So do you guys want more live like this, where we are raw and we talk about stuff, I'll talk about our wins and struggles raw on camera, or do you like to see more YouTube stuff? Just let us know in the comments, and we'll save this live on our feed, and so you guys can watch it back again. I don't know how the connection was throughout the whole half an hour.
Yeah, it broke up a couple of times.
Yeah, so have a great new year.
And we'll see you in the next year then, which is tomorrow. All right, take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll keep up our YouTube lives and TikToks.
Yeah.
Oh, TikTok, haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thanks for watching. Bye. All the best. Happy New Year.